We're going to renovate a house from a hoarder, and today we're going to take a tour. Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Jessie.
She's my sister. And today we're going to tour Jessie's new home that we just bought.
I'm so excited.
Jessie is now a homeowner, and we haven't done a lot of remodeling content before on Homemade Modern, but now that
we have a house, first time for everything.
Right, so you want to make sure and subscribe to her channel. What's it called?
It's called I Jessup.
Right, and so she's going to be basically remodeling this kind of, is it fair to say, a dump?
Yeah, I think the official term is dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So be sure to check out her channel. She's going to be doing a full remodel of this house. But for now, let's look at what she has to work with. So you got that nice little archway.
Yeah, I'm thinking of actually building a bigger, better archway. Like something out of a lot of the materials that you see on
You have a wagon.
I have a wagon.
You can reenact the Oregon Trail.
It's not even the only wagon, also.
So it looks like the fence needs some work. So a lot of probably the metal junk you could use and take apart.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, so it's in an interesting shape. Let's just say that.
So the house has been abandoned for about 5 years.
I think so. That's what I've been told.
And you haven't opened the fridge yet.
I am never opening that fridge. It's getting duct taped shut and thrown out.
Okay. So this is important. These walls right here are not actually structural.
No, they're false walls. So definitely the fake wood paneling is going to go. And
it's
those,
so nice.
You can keep it.
We'll actually use it to make concrete molds because that's a good
idea.
Like a vinyl laminate.
Yeah, so those walls are just being torn out. And definitely more windows in the bedroom area, less tinfoil.
Free bedding. So one, we're going to have to get new windows and probably new doors.
Yes, for sure.
It's only about 700 square feet, so it's not a big house, so it won't be too intensive. Oh, look, your bathroom.
It has an amazing clawfoot bathtub that actually might relocate to the backyard.
And it is cast iron.
It is.
Right, so, and they keep a chair in it, which is handy.
Yeah, no one wants to sit in the water.
So right here is where you can first see a little bit of the mold in the closet.
Yeah.
So it's because this was a bathroom and a wet room, but it's just all gypsum board. So just probably the humidity from bathing and everyday use.
Yeah, and this is also where they keep a lot of their VHS tapes, apparently.
So you inherited, so everything came with the house.
Yes.
So you got a collection of books, you got a copy of The Ladies Man.
The Ladies Man, Collateral Damage.
Now, I recognized a lot of these because they're like, actually they're from all different time periods. There's like John Wayne movies to a lot of like 80s and 90s.
Independence Day, yay! Oh, watch, I got a fly swatter right on the wall. It's very convenient.
Okay, and more mold, but...
Yeah, there's just this guy collected things. So, Zorro, I'm a fan. This, not so much a fan.
Creepy. Just send that out as a Christmas card.
Not pleased with that.
Richard Pryor, VHS.
Dynamite Chicken.
You are a comedy fan.
Fantastic. Oh, and this was super cool. That is actually a sewing table, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we'll think that we pop that out a little bit later.
Yeah, I'm actually excited about that.
So it's weird because some of this stuff is like really old, but then there's stuff like that Kirkland box from Costco.
Yeah, and then there's some sort of valise, which looks newer-ish, but has, it's nice shape. But yeah, so all that's coming out. Also, carpet in the bathroom. I think that's not the greatest idea.
Oh, security system, 2x4 behind the door.
Nothing is getting in, except the rats.
I think you could just yeah, that's one thing. There was a lot of mouse poop. So, yeah. There's no way around it. We got to rip everything down to the studs.
Yeah, it's getting gutted.
Re-insulate.
And then sealed really well.
We're going to need new doors and windows. We'll probably keep the bathtub, but that's probably it.
Yeah, out of there, I don't think that much of the structural is salvageable.
All right, so here's the really exciting part. But first, a message from the sponsor of this video, Guardline Security, which provided a security system for Jessie's new house.
I was able to set up the Guardline system in a matter of minutes, which is huge for me because I am not a tech-savvy person. I don't want something that connects to my phone, to my computer, to clouds and trees and rivers and whatever. I want something that runs off batteries that I can put together today, which I did. Not only that, it actually has different sounds for the different sensors, so I will know if someone is in the backyard or the front yard or the side yard or the other side yard. There are, I think, 32 chimes. Yeah, 32 different chimes, and some of them are pretty fantastic. Once I had set up the system, I installed them where I thought they would be most useful. Installation, again, super simple. There are 4 holes and 4 screws. Screw it into something that doesn't move. If you're interested in using the easiest security system that I've ever found, click on the link in the description box and use the code HOMEMADEMODERN to get 20% off in the first 24 hours.
All right, back to the tour.
Yeah, I was very surprised, but really excited because I love sewing machines. I love old sewing machines that were still made out of metal, and that is what this is. If I'm not mistaken, It's a Kenmore, and it's beautiful. And I don't really know anything about sewing machines, but it seemed to turn pretty well. So that may be making an appearance.
Like, are those things repairable, you think, or?
Probably, considering how old it is, the parts are probably all made out of metal, and it might just need a new band.
And Kenmore, that's like the Sears brand, right?
Yeah.
So is that a welder?
That is a very old welder, which is super cool and probably doesn't work, but is worth a look.
Okay, so here's the front yard. Now, what struck me is this satellite dish thing, this big perforated metal thing. I think that could be a really awesome umbrella or a swing.
Yes, both of those ideas are definitely on the table. I think probably a shade umbrella would be better, because it's hot and sunny. But yeah, another sink.
Now, the inside wasn't creepy enough, but here you have these like weird little shanty towns in your yard. Oh, piece of a car.
There are a few little outbuildings that are pretty decrepit.
Very DIY.
Very DIY. A lot of that's going to have to come down because it's basically going to fall down anyways, probably when I'm inside. But again, I feel like there's a lot of treasure in there, and I just got to get in and take a look.
So even before demo, just sorting through... Ooh, is that a pipe vise?
That is a pipe vise. I'm told it's a good one, too. Oh, and this was super awesome. It's an old workshop. There's actually some old tools in there.
See, I like that red toolbox on the left.
Yeah, I scoped that out.
So this is the exciting part, right? So this is where we work in that Rust-Oleum sponsorship with all these old metal things that need to be refurbished.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take my time and look through there.
The old Pennzoil can. That was like the old... So I love that red toolbox. Yeah. Classic shape. I mean, this all has to get torn down and then just all the usable stuff picked through.
Yes, and that is actually an outhouse right there. And
gross.
This over here is a shower, which is great. There are actually a lot of water lines on the property.
So the plumbing's already there.
The plumbing is there, and all over. And the property, how big is the property?
2.5 acres.
2.5 acres. That's what I thought. So there are water lines all over, which is really great. And actually, it has it's hooked up for 220. So electricity is not going to be a problem.
So what's the strategy with all the junk? Are you going to try to reuse a lot of it? I mean, you can't really reuse old oil filters. Apparently they are recyclable.
You don't know that. I think that there is enough stuff there. Like, if the property were a quarter of the size and there were a quarter of the amount of stuff, I don't think it would be that viable. But since there's so much stuff, I think that I have an opportunity to actually create things out of the junk there.
So it'll be just like sort everything, move everything to one side, get rid of the absolute trash.
Yes.
And then have like sort the things into like items of priority.
Yes, there are going to be so many piles of things.
Right. So apparently there was a fire on the property and one of the outbuildings burned down. And we still don't know if it was like people squatting in it or what happened. Now, is this messed up corrugate, is that plastic or metal?
That is all metal. So that right there is a great find.
So what I saw in the Caribbean a lot is they would kind of make corrugated metal like shingles and then paint it different colors. So I think that could be a really cool way to patch up the fence.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun too to do, just leave some of it as is, but then do painted other pieces, and I think that'll look really cool. And then, cast iron pan. Who doesn't need those?
And some old rims. So
there are a lot of rims there, tire rims, so many of them.
You're getting more into metalworking, so I thought we could use the rims to make some bending jigs for like bending thinner pieces of metal.
Yes, I think that is a fantastic idea.
Or they make good fire pits as well, like little brazier.
And I mean, there are at least 20 tire rims out there.
Just a pile of rusty nails.
And some burnt books.
You know what's weird is like books don't burn all the way through.
No, they can't. It's so strange.
Because they're solid.
Yeah, they blacken around the edges, but you can still read the middle of the page. it's hard to follow the story, but
I'm also intrigued by some of those timbers. I don't know if they're railroad ties, in which case they're not probably going to be that useful. But some of them just look like they were like 8x8 lumber that was burnt. And if we kind of like run that plane down some of the burnt.
yeah, it's got some super char on it.
I know, that looks like an art student's collage piece.
It really does. Yeah, there's so much property, and there's only the one permanent structure, and then the other small structures. So I think that there's a lot of, I'll get to build on the property like from scratch also, but that's much farther down the line.
Right, and so this house is in the Joshua Tree area. It's just outside of the edge of actual Joshua Tree in an area called Landers, and we got it for a steal since it hadn't been occupied in about 5 years.
Yeah.
And this isn't a house flip. This is going to be Jessie's sort of home base.
Yeah.
We're not that big on house flipping. We don't really like the idea of taking houses that are really affordable and then raising the price on them. But we do like the idea of taking a house that's been abandoned and no one's getting any use out of it and making it a nice home.
Yeah, I think I like to start with something and build from that, because design isn't my strong point. I want to get in there and fix a problem. That's what I'm better at.
So this is like a riverbed. So this is probably the biggest area of concern. We didn't see flood damage in the house, but there is this wash back there. So I think one of the first things we'll want to do is get an excavator and really dig that out.
Yeah, we'll make a nice berm there right behind the fence line. I kind of also want to build like something that comes straight up out of the ground, like a little perch that stands above the water line. I think that would be interesting.
There's a lot
bunnies.
Yep. Oh, there's the bunny. So the house is it's L-shaped. It has a single sloped roof. There's, looks like 5 or 6 good trees.
Yeah.
They're not like beautiful trees, but I think if we prune them and clean them up.
And it adds green to the landscape, which is huge.
There's a exterior plywood siding with like vertical patterns on it. I think we could use that, but I kind of just think tear it all off.
Yeah, I think that it's probably not in terrible shape, but if we're taking it all the way down, it kind of feels like why stop at something that's okay.
Right.
But yeah, that area I think would make a really nice patio area. Maybe cover it and have a little indoor-outdoor space.
Because you got two walls with the house,
exactly.
And then the tree kind of makes a third wall, and then it opens to the backyard from there.
Yeah, and it will get great morning sun too.
All right, little weird.
The guest house. It's looks very stable.
That's where Mike can sleep. From Modern Builds.
Finger guns. Yeah, it's that thing might just need to come all the way down.
Yeah, the sun is, you can tell that wood's just shrunken up to pretty much nothing.
Yeah, although I might keep some of the panels and rebuild it into something.
Maybe like a sliding door kind of a thing.
Yeah, that could be really cool.
Yeah, there's all this kind of like great aesthetic decay. These old trash cans that are just ready to crumble to nothing. It's also really interesting, these things, to see what decays and what stays. Like the nylon robe, just fine. The galvanized steel trash can, hurting.
Completely rusted out.
It's also weird, like which plastics sort of survive UV damage.
Yes, I think it's kind of scary both ways. Some of them will just crumble in your hands, but others are absolutely impenetrable, and I don't know which is worse.
Yeah, so like this, totally fine.
Yeah, it just got
for your motorboat.
Got a little rubbery, but whatever.
That wagon is pretty dope.
Yeah, and it's one of 2 wagons on site. The other one looks like a.
So you also got a RV.
Yes, and I am really excited. The body looks like it's in pretty good shape. I might turn it into a sound studio.
Oh.
Yeah, so
here's a good example of the plastic that just crumbles to nothing. I was really disappointed because this is just basically like powder, basically held together. And I think it was the base of a bar stool. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a cool shape. I could use that for a concrete form, but...
No, it just crumbled to death.
Meanwhile, the chain link is fine.
And a super old can.
It's just weird, like, how all this stuff came together. And I'm sure as we dig through and sort through what we're going to pick and keep, it's just going to get weirder and weirder.
Yeah, but there were some great little hammers in there that I could actually probably use for forging, and yeah, there's treasures untold.
All right, so what are you doing next? What's the plan?
So the first thing that has to be done is garbage removal from the house. That is the big thing that has to be done first, because it is truly disgusting. There's a jar of mayonnaise on the table. It's
5 years old mayonnaise. Aged.
it's still good, probably.
Do you like some aged mayonnaise?
Oh, gross.
So cleaning it out,
Yeah.
figuring out what you want to keep, what you
Yes.
want to get rid of, and then from there, demo.
So the center walls, the false walls, those are coming down. We'll pull down all the siding. Then check the roof and the walls to see how viable everything is. So depending on that, that's going to be kind of the kicker of, do we need to put in new framing? Do we need to put in new siding? What do we need to do? And then figure out plumbing and electrical.
All right, so everyone can go to
Jessup.
on YouTube and on Instagram.
Also, Jessup.
Right, so follow along, check it out, be sure to subscribe, and thanks again to Guardline for sponsoring this video and keeping your new crappy home safe.
Yes!
No one can steal your junk.
No squatters amongst my tires.
All right, so I know this wasn't a project video. We'll get back to that next week, but for now, bye.
Bye.